What is up, YouTube? It's Josh. This is the Den of Nerds. This video is going to be a ton of fun. It's something I've been thinking about for the past week or so, ever since Pokemon Go came out. And this video is going to be basically why Pokemon Go is taking over the world. Now, I have to say a couple things right off the bat. First of all, this is not a video where I'm going to either be praising or putting down Pokemon Go, even though I do really like it and I'll probably frame it in a positive outlook. But as far as whether it's a good or bad thing that some of these things are happening, that's yet to be determined. This video is the way that I like to dissect things and analytically talk about the whys and the hows. And basically, this video is going to be about why, in my opinion, this game is hitting on all cylinders and literally taking over the world. So let's get right into it. I basically want to start with giving a quick explanation about what Pokemon Go is, or why all of your friends are posting these pictures with little creatures all over their, cars and their coffees and their toilets and whatever. So you probably know what it is, but just in case you don't, the game is an augmented reality game made by Nintendo and Niantic, okay? The way that it works is it uses geolocation and real-time GPS to basically pop or produce Pokemon in the real world, which you can then see on your phone or your camera as you're walking around, okay? That's what the augmented reality means, is that it's basically, the real world augmented by Pokemon that exist within it, okay? So that's basically what the game is. If you had no idea, or, you wanted a quick explanation of what AR was, that's what it is, okay? Now, as far as why it's taking over the world, I'm going to make basically 3 points that kind of tie together. So basically, the first point, the first reason why I think Pokemon Go is so big and why it's going to take over the world is because it's the perfect IP, and IP stands for intellectual property, okay? So this company that made Pokemon Go, they also had a game called Ingress, which I believe has been out for at least 5 years. It's very similar. I think there are like teleporter points. It really has to do with grouping and group work and social interaction. It's an augmented reality game. But the game's been around for like 5 years, and it's nowhere even close to as popular as Pokemon Go has become in just a week. And the reason for this is that I think it's just a perfect IP. Pokemon was and is very, very popular, okay? It's been around for a long time. It's gotten multiple generations of people that have bought into the concept. And so that's one reason that it's really good. The other is that it really lends itself perfectly to the model of the game. So the IP Pokemon lends itself perfectly to the model of this augmented reality game that Ingress, or that Niantic rather, has created. And the model itself is a regional, a social, and a casual model. This works perfectly with Pokemon because in the world of Pokemon, it is a real world much like ours, except for the fact that Pokemon exist in it. And the Pokemon are specific to regions. There is a big social aspect built into the IP in which people are walking around having adventures. There's Team Rocket, which is, the antagonist, and, these crazy Pokemon that exist only in certain areas. There are gyms, which you literally go into battle. And so built into this IP is the idea of a regional and a social aspect. It's also super casual. The creation and the design and the art of these characters, they're really, it's cartoony, it's nice, it's just cool enough in some cases to draw like more mature people in, but always like light and fluffy enough to bring in like grandma or the little sister or whatever. So it's casual in that sense, which I think is perfect for the model of the game. So that's my first point, is that the IP of Pokemon is perfect because it's super popular and because it lends itself beautifully to the model. And as I said before, Ingress, not a popular IP at all. If it was even an IP, and they might have just, it might be proprietary, it might be something they made, but just nowhere near as popular, okay? Now let's move on to my second point. Now the second point has to do with that model that I was talking about, okay? This model is the regional, social, and casual model. Now, let me tell you about just a couple experiences that I've had with Pokemon Go. And the thing that's really interesting is they scale up these experiences. So let me tell you. The first day I was walking around, I went to a gym. I was taking the gym. A couple kids walked up. They saw me playing. They said something like, "Hey, Pokemon Go?" And I said, "Yeah, no, I'm playing Pokemon Go." And they were like, "What team are you?" And I was, Team Valor. By the way, Team Valor's the best team. I mean, do we really even have to go into that? But, getting back to my point. These kids were like, "What team are you?" I said, "Team Valor." They said, "Oh, good shit," and walked away. This was such a weird but awesome experience, and I've never had like an interaction like that while playing a game, okay? But that's nothing. The very next day, I was at the local Starbucks where I get a lot of work done. I render and edit a lot of videos there. So I'm walking, and there are these locations called Pokestops. Okay, now these are locations that exist for everybody on the map. You can go there and you spin the little wheel, and then you collect, the Pokeballs, the potions, and things like that. You can also pop what's called a lure at each Pokestop. Now, what a lure will do is bring Pokemon from the area to that Pokestop. The thing that's really cool is all players with the game open can see which location has the lure open. Now, for some of you, you're like, "Duh, I know this. But I'm talking to people that might not know, so I'm going to kind of, bring it down a notch, if you will. So I go to this Pokestop. It's, someone popped a lure. I'm there. And a guy comes up, introduces himself. We then talk, and he's explaining that he's on Team Valor. We literally went around, complete stranger, literally went around for 2 hours, walking around town, capturing gyms, conversing, talking about anything from political, craziness to some of the crazy events that have been going on in America right now. End up having an awesome conversation. We're Facebook friends now. He subscribed to the channel, so he's probably seeing this. Andy, big shout out. You are the man. We basically became friends, and that experience was like the next scale up. I was like, this is absolutely crazy, like that a game is doing this. Okay, then the next night I went to a local park that is around me. I shit you not, 40 people plus congregating in this park, of all walks of life, of all creeds and colors, and all ages, in this park, catching Pokemon, talking about Pokemon, experiencing this game together in a social environment. It's really, really crazy. So that's that regional and that social thing. So they've done something genius by putting these stops up there that then bring people together in an actual location. And this is good for a number of different reasons. Basically, social interaction feels good, okay? We're social creatures. Communicating, communing, having fellowship, it feels good. It scratches a very primitive itch, okay? So whether on purpose or by accident, Niantic and Pokemon have discovered an ability to use what already exists in nature and basically rewarding us, because we're incentivized based creatures, giving us a reward in-game and in the real world for doing certain things, okay? Another thing is that physical activity feels good. If you don't believe me, get up right now and do 5 to 15 jumping jacks and then sit back down. You will immediately feel better. The brain will release serotonin. You will get beta endorphins from physical activity. This kind of stuff feels good. Once again, scratching that primitive itch. Very interesting. Did they do this on purpose, or did they just get lucky? I don't know. But the model of the game basically incentivizes social activity, moving around from region to region, and basically having interactions and making physical activity that makes you feel good. It makes you feel good. Another thing that's really interesting about the model is that they don't really give you a lot of information as far as how to play the game. Now, it's super casual. I think you can pretty much pick it up and figure out the basics just by throwing the Pokeball, and they do help you out there. However, I find it interesting that they don't fill in any of the gaps. But when you're in a big group setting, like I was at the park, or when I was hanging out with Andy, the questions you have about the game, they you basically want to ask other players, which I find very interesting. Once again, I don't know if they did this on purpose or they just got lucky, but it's a super cool part of the game where you go and you see people, you want to talk to them not just because they could be on your team, but because they might know something about the game that you do not, and that Niantic is definitely not just putting out there for everybody. So really weird, all these little things that I'm seeing that are basically causing this cascading effect that's bringing people together, making it very popular. So that's my second point, is that going back to the model with the regional, the social, and the casual. Very interesting. My third point has to do with social media, and this just has to do with timing, okay? Anything that was ever super successful in the world hit it on one important point, and that is timing. Timing is the most important thing when you're trying to create a successful business, a successful relationship, what have you. Timing is key. And basically what happened with Pokemon Go is that this socially interactive casual game came out at a time when social media is almost ubiquitous. Everybody uses it. So whether you're on Twitter, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, you were hearing and seeing about Pokemon Go. They don't even have to advertise for this game. It's so good because of its model that you're going to see it all over the place on social media. It created a wildfire. I remember Tuesday it was trending on Twitter and Facebook. It's the way that I found out about the game. Now, I'd been following the production of the game for a couple years. I found it very interesting, so I was intrigued at it. But I didn't know the game released until I saw people playing it on social media, which created this wildfire. I mean, that coupled with the fact that it's a super casual game set the internet ablaze. So you have all of these just perfect things just coming together. And that's my third point, is about the timing when it comes to social media. Now, I want to basically tell you that there is evidence, hard evidence, that this game is taking over the world. And it's crazy. The first has to do with Nintendo's stock price, okay? Money's a good yardstick in almost all forms of media or all enterprises or anything. Basically, money is an excellent yardstick. Niantic and Nintendo, and I think it's just Nintendo's stock, within a week went up 10%. I believe it's at least up 25% from the time that the game launched. That's crazy. Like, you don't have to know anything about economics to know that a 25% increase is crazy. It's way, way higher than a normal deviation statistically. It's a big fucking deal. A lot of money. And basically what that has to do with is people seeing the potential of the game to not only be able to guide commerce or social interaction certain places, but that it's basically going to take over, and therefore people are investing in it. It's becoming an avenue for not only revenue, but the manipulation of media and revenue. So it's like crazy. So that's the first point. There's an interesting thing that came out a couple days ago where people said that basically Pokemon Go usage is on track to surpass Twitter in daily usage. Now, that is a huge deal. The fact that Twitter is used so daily is literally an integral part of its market value. The reason Twitter exists along with Facebook, even though Facebook has way more users, is because of the way that Twitter incentivizes daily use and rapid interaction. Pokemon Go is literally within a week on track to surpass Twitter. That blows my mind. I heard another report that suggests that Nintendo has literally made $14 million off of microtransactions in the week that Pokemon Go has been out. 14 million fucking dollars off of microtransactions. Microtransactions. That's like when you go in and you buy the Pokeballs or the incense or this, that, and the other. And then we're talking about anywhere from 99 cents to $50 at a time. But for something to make $14 million of digital transactions, that means there's no distribution cost there. So the profit margin is insane. That's really ridiculous. $14 million in less than a week. And literally, as I'm about to record this video, I'm on Facebook and I see a report by Nerdist that said that Pokemon Go is currently being used more than porn. It is more popular than pornography. And not to get too like gross or explicit, but I just want to basically explain how crazy that is. 90% of the internet is pornography, which a lot of people don't realize, but that's a staggering amount. I mean, it's a huge, once again, you want to talk about scratching primitive itches, that industry nails it. But Pokemon Go is literally on, right now, more popular than pornography. I mean, this blows my mind. It blows my fucking mind. Okay, so that's basically been my video. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you agree with some of these points? Did I maybe make you think a little bit about something that you weren't considering before? Are you playing Pokemon Go right now? And what team are you? Go Team Valor, of course. All right, now let's check that nerd card. I mean, we might as well go Pokemon in this one. And I mean, we'll go super casual. We'll go super casual with this. So, what was the name of the Pokemon game in which a Pikachu would follow you around, not in a Pokeball, but literally following you around? It was a huge deal. It was also the last time I actually played a Pokemon game on a Game Boy. I think it was a Game Boy Color. But what was the name of that Pokemon game? Answer the question in the comment section below. I hope you're having an awesome and nerdy day. See ya!